Hi, welcome back to our channel, and thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Today, I am going to share a data-backed story with you, a narrative distilled from analysis based on the data which are publicly available and released by authorities and institutions like IMF, World Gold Council, etc. In this world that we are living upon, for each and every one of us, wherever we are living, we must hear gold. Gold is the best-known precious metal in every corner of the world, one of the oldest forms of value humanity has ever known. Long before modern money existed, gold was already trusted as money, as wealth, as power. It does not rust, it does not decay, it does not disappear. Across centuries and cultures, from ancient coins and royal treasuries to wedding rings and medals, gold has always meant permanence. Even today, central banks hold it. Investors turn to it in times of crisis. Gold feels real, scarce, dependable, a timeless safe haven, standing apart from everyday financial systems.
Over time, gold becomes more than an asset. It becomes emotional. When markets fall, when currencies weaken, when crises unfold, gold appears in the headlines, a place to hide. Investors flee to gold. Central banks rely on it. Slowly, almost without noticing, we learn to trust it as honest, apolitical, dependable. Gold becomes a quiet promise that when everything else feels fragile, something will still hold value.
However, I asked myself if this familiar story about gold is complete. Until recently, I looked at and analyzed the authoritative data which is publicly available and released by authorities and institutions. I found more things beyond this familiar story. My findings distilled from this data-backed analysis tells gold is truly inside some sort of system. There is reason making it so carefully stored, controlled, and monitored. Gold is not only a safe haven, its price moves with our modern financial cycles. Gold does not exist in isolation. It interacts with currencies, central banks, global power. In this episode today, I am going to share this data-backed, comprehensive story about gold. Before we talk about what gold means, we need to understand what gold is. Gold is a chemical element. Its symbol is Au, from the Latin aurum. Its atomic number is 79. In its pure form, gold is a bright, metallic yellow, dense, soft, and remarkably malleable. A single gram of gold can be stretched into a sheet covering nearly a square meter. It can be drawn into wires thinner than a human hair without breaking. Chemically, gold belongs to a rare group known as noble metals. These metals are defined by what they don't do. Gold does not rust. It does not oxidize. It does not react easily with air, water, or most chemicals. This near-perfect stability is why gold artifacts buried for thousands of years can emerge almost unchanged, as bright as the day they were made. Gold is also one of the densest metals on Earth. Hold it in your hand and it feels heavier than it looks. This density, combined with its softness, made gold ideal for early coins, difficult to counterfeit, easy to shape, and hard to destroy. Beyond history, gold remains deeply relevant today. It is an excellent conductor of electricity and heat. Because it does not corrode, it is used in electronics, medical devices, and aerospace technology, places where failure is not an option. Gold's physical properties are not symbolic. They are measurable, repeatable, and universal. And that is why across civilizations and centuries, gold was chosen as a store of value by accident. Its role in human systems began with physics and chemistry, long before economics, finance, or belief. Gold is valuable because it endures.
Perhaps any one of us ever ask ourselves a question: where does gold come from?
Does it come from in the way as other metals does, like iron, aluminum, etc.? With this question, we start a short journey to learning about where gold comes from. Gold was forged and originated from cosmic events billions of years ago. When massive stars die, they explode as supernovae, forging heavy elements like gold. Those atoms scatter across space, becoming part of new stars and planets. Earth formed from this ancient material. Some gold sank deep into its core. Some arrived by asteroid bombardment or meteorites. After we know what gold is, where gold comes from, then another question gets floated on the surface of water. How much gold do we actually have today? By late 2025, the total amount of above-ground gold, meaning all the gold ever mined and still in existence, reached about 216,265 tons. That includes everything: coins, jewelry, bars, central bank reserves, industrial gold. Now here's where scale becomes interesting. If we melted all of that gold and shaped it into a single cube, it would measure just 22.3 meters on each side, a cube small enough to fit beneath Eiffel Tower, which rises more than 300 meters into the sky. All the gold humanity has accumulated over thousands of years would look surprisingly small. Yet in value, that same cube would be worth more than $32 trillion based on average gold prices in early 2026. Dense, compact, and extraordinarily valuable. But that's only the gold we can already see. Beneath the surface of the Earth, scientists estimate another 136,000 tons remain available for future mining. This includes known reserves and identified resources, but excludes gold that is too deep, too dispersed, or unreachable. If all of that underground gold were also formed into a cube, it would measure just under 20 meters on each side, even smaller than the gold already above ground. Put together, this tells us something important. Gold is not scarce in theory, it is scarce in volume. Almost all the gold that will ever circulate in human systems already exists, either stored, worn, guarded, or buried just beneath our feet. There is no sudden flood coming, no mass expansion. Gold's supply grows slowly, deliberately, and visibly. And not physical constraint, more than any belief or narrative, is what anchors gold's role in the global system. So far, we've talked about gold as a stock, how much exists, how limited that total really is. Now we turn to something different. Not how much gold humanity has, but how much gold continues to enter the system. Because gold does not appear suddenly, it does not flood the world overnight. Gold arrives slowly, methodically, through mining. In 2024, total global gold production reached approximately 3,661 tons. Compared to the vast amount of gold already above ground, this annual addition is small. But the flow of gold matters, because flow determines influence, access, and long-term positioning. To understand gold today, we need to understand where it is produced and why. Gold production has never been fixed in one place. In the mid-19th century, gold rushes reshaped entire nations. The California Gold Rush of 1848 accelerated the rise of the United States. Soon after, Australia and Russia emerged as major gold-producing powers. By the late 1800s, South Africa took the global lead, following the discovery of the Witwatersrand Basin, one of the richest gold deposits ever found. For decades, South Africa dominated world supply. But geology alone does not determine leadership. Technology, capital, labor, and state priorities all matter. By 2007, China overtook every other nation to become the world's largest gold producer, a position it still holds today. Gold production shifts slowly, but when it shifts, it reshapes the balance of economic power. In 2024, gold production spanned every inhabited continent. But it was far from evenly distributed. Some regions dominate the flow, others barely register. Africa emerged as the largest gold-producing continent, with total output of just over 1,000 tons. Asia followed, producing roughly 665 tons. Close behind was the Commonwealth and Independent States region, including Russia and Central Asia, with nearly 584 tons. The Americas together produced over 1,000 tons, split between North and South. Oceania contributed several hundred tons, while Europe produced only a fraction. Gold production is global, but production power is concentrated. Africa leads the world in gold production, not because of one country, but because of geological abundance across the continent. In 2024, Africa produced approximately 1,010 tons of gold. At the top was Ghana, with production of about 141 tons. Close behind was Mali, producing roughly 100 tons, followed by South Africa at just under 99 tons. South Africa's production today is far below its historical peak, yet its mining legacy remains foundational. Across Africa, gold plays a complex role. It supports national budgets, attracts foreign investment, and often operates alongside political instability and infrastructure challenges. In many African countries, gold is not just a commodity, it is a pillar of economic survival. Yet, despite leading the world in production, much of Africa captures only a fraction of the downstream value. Gold leaves the continent, but control often does not. Asia ranked second globally in 2024 with total gold production of around 665 tons. At the center of this output stands China. China alone produced approximately 380 tons of gold, more than any other country on Earth. But China's role is unique. Unlike many major producers, China exports very little of the gold it mines. Most of it stays within the country, supporting domestic demand, industrial use, and long-term reserves. After China, Indonesia produced around 140 tons, making it Asia's second largest producer. The Philippines followed, with production of nearly 39 tons. In Asia, gold production reflects a blend of industrial-scale mining, state oversight, and strategic accumulation. Here, gold does not simply flow into global markets, it flows inward, reinforcing national systems. The Commonwealth and Independent State region, including Russia and Central Asia, produced approximately 584 tons of gold in 2024. Russia dominated the region, with production of about 330 tons. Behind Russia were Uzbekistan, producing roughly 129 tons, and Kazakhstan, with about 87 tons. In this region, gold production is deeply strategic. Gold supports national reserves, strengthens currencies, and reduces reliance on external financial systems. Mining decisions here are rarely just economic, they are geopolitical. Gold is not merely extracted, it is positioned. In Central and South America, gold production reached approximately 519 tons in 2024. Peru led the region with about 137 tons, followed by Brazil at 84 tons and Colombia with nearly 66 tons. In North America, total production stood at roughly 500 tons. Canada produced around 202 tons, the United States about 158 tons, and Mexico approximately 140 tons. Across the Americas, gold mining tends to be capital-intensive, highly regulated, and technologically advanced. Production is relatively stable, but expansion is limited. Here, the constraint is not geology alone, but cost, regulation, and environmental pressure. In Oceania, gold production is dominated by one country. Australia produced around 284 tons in 2024, accounting for the vast majority of the region's output. Papua New Guinea contributed nearly 50 tons. Europe sits at the opposite extreme.
In 2024, Europe produced just 36 tons of gold in total. The leading producers were Bulgaria, Finland, and Sweden, each producing less than 10 tons. Gold exists across Europe, but large-scale production does not. Putting all together, these numbers reveal a deeper pattern. Gold production is slow, geographically constrained, and increasingly strategic. No region can rapidly increase supply. No country can flood the market. The annual flow of gold into the global system is predictable, limited, and difficult to disrupt. And that reality shapes everything, from prices to reserves to power. Gold's influence does not come from abundance, it comes from restraint. When we look closer at gold production, it becomes clear that a small number of countries dominate the global flow. In 2024, the top 15 gold-producing nations accounted for approximately 2,505 tons of gold. That's over 2/3 of all the gold mined in the world. This is a striking fact. Just 15 countries control nearly 68% of global production. Gold may exist on every continent, but concentrated power defines the market. At the very top sits China, producing around 380 tons. China has led the world for nearly 2 decades, a blend of massive reserves, advanced technology, and state coordination. Its production alone accounts for more than 1/10 of all gold mined globally. Close behind is Russia at 330 tons. Russia's gold supports its national reserves, strengthens financial independence, and underpins its position in global markets. Third in line is Australia, producing roughly 284 tons. Australia's mining operations are highly industrialized with a mix of large corporate mines and strategic exploration. From there, the distribution begins to reflect both geography and policy. Canada produces about 202 tons, primarily concentrated in Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. The United States follows with 158 tons, driven by mines in Nevada and Alaska. Africa's presence among the top producers is unmistakable. Ghana, producing 140 tons, has recently surpassed both South Africa and Mali, claiming the title of Africa's largest gold producer in 2024. Mali contributed 100 tons, and South Africa just under 99 tons. Burkina Faso rounds out the African representation with 94 tons. Other nations highlight the strategic spread across the globe. Mexico produces roughly 140 tons, while Indonesia, in Asia, also contributed 140 tons. South America is represented by Peru at 136 tons and Brazil producing 83 tons. Central Asia contributes with Uzbekistan at 129 tons and Kazakhstan producing 87 tons. When we take a step back, a pattern emerges. The top producers span all inhabited continents, from Asia to Africa, North and South America, and Oceania. However, the production is not just about quantity. It reflects national strategy, geology, infrastructure, and investment. China and Russia dominate not merely because of reserves, but because production is heavily coordinated with state involvement, investment in technology, and controlled output. Africa, in contrast, demonstrates the power of rich geology, but also the complexity of mining under diverse political, social, and economic conditions. North America combines stability and industrial scale, with mining concentrated in a few high-tech operations. South America shows how production can be significant, yet more exposed to fluctuations in policy, labor, and environment. Collectively, these 15 countries illustrate an important truth. Gold production is global in reach, yet concentrated in control. While thousands of mines operate worldwide, the majority of gold comes from a select few nations. Every bar of gold,
every coin, every industrial application ultimately traces back to one of these 15 countries. This is the flow that underpins the global gold market. It's the flow that shapes reserves, supports national strategies, and drives the broader perception of gold as a scarce, valuable, and strategic asset. As we move forward, understanding which countries produce gold and in what volumes helps explain how gold interacts with finance, politics, and global power structure. We've traced gold from its cosmic birth to the depths of the earth. We've seen who mines it and where it comes from today. But extraction is only the beginning, because gold's real power isn't in the ground, it's in who holds it. Behind vault doors, inside central banks, accumulated quietly for leverage, not beauty. In the next episode, we move from production to possession, and that is where gold's true influence begins. Thank you for watching. If you found this video interesting and informative, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And please subscribe for more interesting infographic-based analysis.